Okay, you can see that we've got this microbit programmed, and what it's doing is sensing the light intensity in the room using this little LDR, it's called light sensing. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because we're doing a lot of soldering of kits, learning about soldering, and I'm seeing this LDR show up in a lot of our boards. That is sensing the light in the room. I'll show you how I've got this programmed and how I've got this wired. We've included a resistor, and this is a 10,000 ohm resistor. It took a while for me to find the proper wiring on the internet using the microbit for this sensor. This is just a battery powering the microbit, and we're using this T breakout board that shows our pinouts. In other words, this edge connector on our microbit is identified all the pins on these two columns. Now, I'll talk about what this LDR is and how it shows up on many of our soldering kits, and there are other components that show up on our soldering kits. This is a type of capacitor, resistors, transistor. So we're going to be talking about how to use these with the BBC microbit and MakeCode and discover what they do and how they do it. So let's look at what, first of all, our wiring diagram. It shows the resistor right here. It shows the LDR, and it shows a power line going to one leg of the LDR. These LDRs are a type of resistor, and they do not need polarity. One is positive, one is negative. That does not work that way with a resistor. It's just either end can be plus or minus. I'll show you what a photoresistor is, LDR, right here. It says that when the amount of light increases in the receiver, then it shows the electrons moving, jump to the conduction band, and you will then see the resistance decrease. So that's why our numbers change higher or lower in our microbit when we cover the light sensor. Now, the code is very simple. If we press A button, we read the input, analog input on pin number 1, and notice that you don't see any brown tools here. So what we have to do to find this brown bubble is we have to go to advanced. There's not an extension for pins. You go to advanced, and then you scroll down and you find pins. Now we're going to choose this analog read pin and change it from 0 to 1. And now the microbit's going to read the input on pin number 1 and do something when it sees that input. If it's, I just chose the number arbitrarily 700 as a limit on our resistance, and If it's greater than 700, we get one reading and we get a frowny face. If it's less than 700, then we get a heart. Now, I'm going to go back to one place you can get more information is Sean O'Connor's YouTube channel, where he doesn't use a breadboard like I'm using, but he just connects his components directly together. So then he shows how this can be wired on the microbit in order to get the same effect that I get. So we're going to use this idea of breadboarding the microbit, and we'll be studying these different components in an electrical circuit. And this is the first example using MakeCode and hardware, an LDR photoresistor. There will be more.